What's up, y'all? My name is Jared, Jared Moore. I go by Jay, but I'm getting connected with more community, and I just feel like it's time to reintroduce kind of my philosophy on life and who I am and what I'm about. And ultimately, I'm somebody who I feel like has I've done everything that has been expected of me, right? I grew up getting the grades, playing the sports. I went into the military, and I felt like I was doing and playing the part of society that was expected of me. And I was deeply rooted in conditions and identity structures when it comes to being a male in this realm, and also like uh, in conservative values in negative ways. There's positive identities within that, of course, but I grew up in that mind frame and in kind of a belief system that wasn't fulfilling, and I was kind of just agreeing to my surroundings. After I got out of the military, after a pretty bad accident, I had a lot of like self-worth and a lot of soul searching to do. I found myself working at a Pepsi warehouse in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I was just going through the work cycle, using substances and having fun in ways, but I was not treating my body right. I was not treating my mind right. I was kind of just distracted amidst the work cycle because I was putting in 60-hour work weeks and really pushing my body to the limit. Not feeding myself right. I would just have a horrible diet and drinking every weekend, using other substances, and I just found myself in a place of like real unfulfillment, and attaching myself to political parties, sports teams, and idolizing things outside of myself. And to the extent I thought the election was rigged, and I thought um, a president was going to be able to save me in my conditions, in my reality. And as we can see, that is just a big false illusion. And I didn't come to my awakening and understanding of myself and like this way of self-reflection until I started journaling, until COVID happened and I had 2 weeks to just sit in my energy. I also just started to read books on intuition and frequency, and I got to take a sabbatical to Costa Rica. And while I was in Costa Rica for a month long, I noticed how healthy they eat and how the food is all coming from the earth and how my body was reacting to real food. And it was really interesting. I mean, even their ketchup was clear, and it was really interesting to have these realizations while I was there. But then I also became aware of how like unpresent I was when I was there trying to enjoy the beautiful scenery. I mean, I got to see amazing things. I backpacked the entire country into remote areas, but like my mind was only set on my fixes, my next caffeine fix, my next meal, whatever it was, my comforts. I was really just stuck on my comforts there. I also was dealing with a pornography addiction, so I was just like always thinking about that, and I was like projecting outward in my reality, and it was taking away my energy and my vitality. So that was kind of the spark. I was still very in my patterns and in addictions and in my identity. And basically after that, me and my ex-partner at the time decided to buy an RV, renovate it, and switch to a more nomadic lifestyle so we could have this freedom. And to me, it was like just freedom to just do what I want and like have fun, but like it turned into this freedom to self-reflect for me. And we would do, part time, like in the winter, maybe we would, pick up jobs. So like in South Padre Island, Texas, I did a fishing job, and it just kind of like opened me up to like this new world of like traveling, living in an RV, this new lifestyle. And it gave me a lot of space to just kind of do something different and to just deep dive into myself. And then after that, we went to up the coast of California, and we basically pretended we were retired, hitting breweries, wineries, just hanging out and like being free. And like finally, for the first time in my life, I can reflect back on all my energies. I'm not tied to school, I'm not tied to the military, and I'm not tied to the Pepsi warehouse where I was working. So I'm out of the work cycle. I'm actually have space to think for myself and actually come to the understandings of everything I've gone through my entire life, because I was so busy during those times and preoccupied with immense amount of energies, insecurities in myself, like so many things that were boggling with me. Family dynamics, divorced parents, moving all the time. There were so many factors involved where I never had a chance to just sit in my energy and reflect. So during that time, going up the coast of California, living in an RV, seeing beautiful nature, national parks, just like feeding my soul with what it really truly we're here to do is to adventure, see beautiful scenery, and grow and evolve in ourselves. And I finally had this opportunity to do so. And I've just started having some really deep questions on like, what is consciousness? Like, what is life? And it was opening me up to this self-reflection and deep dive into consciousness. And I was really deeply rooted in conspiracies and like still kind of identifying with like these egoic traits and qualities in myself. And it right, like I almost was like kidding myself, like this unseen realm that I'm feeling into, like it's not real. Like I'm still trying to delayer and understand what I'm feeling inside. I've developed a very atheist mindset with science and like the way school brought me into this method of thinking things and seeing things in my reality to know it's true and real. But they never taught me how to feel things. So I was finally starting to feel things, meditating, trying to meditate, because at that time it was really hard to really stay focused. Like I said, I was dealing with a lot of addictions and like vices and things that just I needed to function, right? Marijuana every day. Like honestly, from the age of 14 to 26, I religiously used marijuana. But that was a medicine for me, and I needed it at the time to really, deal with the energies at hand. But anyways, to continue on, after going up the coast of California, doing that travels and like kind of being out of the work cycle, living free, we were running out of funds and we needed a place to, get back up in our finances and just chill stationary in the RV. So I'm in Washington, in Linden, Washington, working on an apple farm. I get this amazing job opportunity, a place to stay in the RV, and it was like a test of faith, right? Because when we're traveling, like I'm fixing the RV on the fly, I'm learning things on YouTube. And when I was in Texas, I worked on a boat, and I literally worked on the entire like inside of this boat and learned all these things, and it correlated right into working on this old RV like all the way up the coast. So like it gave me all these like, it was like just divine perfect knowledge to use for my travels. So I get to this apple farm, and I get this like job opportunity to be super responsible, and like I'm a farm hand, the farm mechanic, working the tasting room, working in the distillery, shipping, everything. Like I just took on everything. I was just ready to like really just like dive in. And I never thought I was like so personable with people, and I'm like selling alcohol with people, and like it was just opened me up in ways that I never thought I could be. And it's like traveling is just slowly expanding me, right? Going from my small boxed identity of, Arizona and like where I grew up in and like all the mindsets and mentalities there, and just going with the flow to now expanding and doing my own searching and questioning on these old belief systems. So I continue on and I do a whole fall season into there, and then we go overseas for the first time. And this is to Thailand. And we kind of just start traveling there. We're having a good time, partying it up. Like, it's Thailand, right? It's the whole thing. It's a scene, drinking, smoking, hanging out on the beaches. And then all of a sudden, like, after doing that, indulging, it's like a month while we're there. Like, life kind of just puts someone into our mix, and it changes our trajectory. And we meet a really cool friend on a boat. He happened to be from Flagstaff, Arizona, where we're from. Just super random coincidence. And we're just sitting there like contemplating like everything, and then like talking about travels. And he was like, "Hey, let's go to India." Or he's like, "I'm going to India for a yoga teacher training. Um, maybe think about it if you guys would want to come." Or I think we were butted in. We're like, "Could we come with you?" Like, because it sounds awesome. Like, we're kind of just like over just drinking, and like I'm like really in my pattern still. Like I said, caffeine, everything. Like, I'm still trying to process all of these things that have like taken me for a ride for so long. And it's, there's a lot of interpersonal relationship stuff in this. I've during this time period, I've been with the same partner from the age of 15 and 14, all the way up until this past year. And we'll get more into that as that's part of the awakening. But the main point of this is that I ended up in India doing a yoga teacher training by chance. I had been questioning my consciousness. I've been questioning, what is my purpose? What is all of this? And I did a 30-day intensive yoga teacher training in India, and it took this veil from my eyes. And the yogic philosophies and that philosophy teacher spoke to something so deep in my soul that it was all the answers I was looking for. The yogic philosophies gave me a way to study my senses, study my mind, study my body, get more in tune with my body, to the point of like, I have it. This is what I'm going to pursue for the rest of my life. And after that, my life just started to change significantly, because when I go through trainings, when I go through things, like I went through the military training, I do it 100% with my full attention. And I'm a try hard. I work really hard in that aspect. So I took that training to my soul, and I made it, and I put it into my workout routine, everything. And it just, ever since that trip, my mind has just been progressively getting more clear, more aware, and I've been delayering so much and unlearning so much of the Western society that I know it's becoming part of my purpose, because I'm finding freedom within myself that I never had before. Freedom of the senses, freedom of spirit. Like, this mind, body, spirit connection has been amazing, this unraveling. And it's so important to understand that there's so much freedom beyond the work cycle. There's freedom that is to be had here beyond what this Western society tries to make and force us into. And we've been developed in these school systems to think so narrow-minded, when there's so much more feeling and in-tuneness with your body that's happening. But anyways, I do that trip. I go to Everest Base Camp. I do all these things after that yoga teacher training, a little stint in Malaysia, Singapore, and then I come back home. Get back in the RV, and we're on the Oregon coast, and I'm serving tables. And this is like a big thing for me when it comes to like my social atmosphere. Like, I was very in my own energy, and I didn't really like to deal with people because I'm sensitive. But now, after this yoga teacher training's opened me up, I'm like, all right, now it's time to go do field work and train my body to be safe out in my environment. And serving tables like built this resilience in me. and built this pattern recognition of like how humans feel and conduct themselves. Like it gave me like a perfect opportunity to read energy all summer long. I was doing 12-hour shifts, like still in like my overworking mindset, because like I'm like, oh, I'm hustling, I'm getting the money, and it burned me out, right? Like it really burnt me out. I'm also having a lot of complications in my relationship, which there's just resonance that is not there anymore because I'm pulling my energy back into myself. I'm studying like the dynamic more, and I'm not putting up with things that I used to put up with, and I'm just changing, right? I'm getting that energetic sovereignty over myself. Um, and that creates push and pull in the relationship, especially if there's not clear communication, because at that time I had no idea how to communicate this awakening that I was going through. As clear as I am today in this, I was not then. I had this awakening, this identity shift, but I was still holding on to things, addictions, substances, whatever it is. So it's just like this kind of process, and it was slow and gradual. Meditations, daily workouts, stretching, and there's so much to it, right? Like I'm feeling energy moving through my body over time, and it's not happening all at once. Like this is like years of processing that's happening, and it's so crazy to say that it takes years, but it really does if you've been in such stagnancy and such deeply rooted belief systems and identities. It's going to take time of questioning, time of contemplation. And this is so biblical. It's so real, right? This is, and like another thing about India is I found God in this, right? I've sat with myself and I was like, oh wow, this is divine. I'm getting in tap with divine energies, and I'm able to just really feel the unseen at this point. Like completely just started seeking the divine, because the yogic philosophies, I mean, if you don't study that philosophy and find God, I don't know what you're doing. You're not reading it right. You're not really feeling into it, in my opinion. You find God. You do. There's divinity in those philosophies, and it's a good way to take that scientific inquired mind of the West and just put it right into this expansive quantum field. And it's really productive in there, you know, given the right perception shifts, given the right direction, you can change your life drastically, beautifully. You can come to some deep upheavals of who you thought you were. And these illusions, man, and it's the illusion of Maya. Like there's so much depth to this, and it gives you a space to like pursue this without the ego. Like I don't know, I've been like really in this tug of war of like, oh, like I'm finding this expansive energy, but it's not at like this, oh, I'm better than everyone else. No, I'm like, I need to help as many people as I can to start contemplating themselves and questioning their belief systems, because I'm seeing all the disarray in my life, and I'm like, we really need something like this. Like this is my purpose. This is what I came here to just plant seeds with, because my own unraveling, my own illusions is teaching me so much. And I'm really coming to an understanding that we've been led astray. We've been kept hidden from a deep inner truth and inner knowing. And this energy of this world is profound. And there's so many tools and ways of being that can expand your life. But if you're not given the information, if you're not given the tools and the ways to self-reflect, then you might never know that you have reflecting to do. Like I didn't think at that time that I had so much work to do and so much processing of grief and trauma and family dynamics and self-worth and insecurities I had to dig through, but it was all there. It was real, and it's stuff that I've really dug deep into myself and given myself a chance to have space, because I've never slowed down before. I've never given myself to meditate and think on things and regulate my nervous system in these ways. And it's just progressively getting better. And I know how much my ego would have resisted these things and resisted, these energies of balancing masculine and feminine, because we really like to box each other in around that in like sexual orientation. Like there's so many assumptions, so many biases, and deeply rooted just biases, right, in our society. It's obvious, right? And yeah, that's kind of the basis of my life, is like overcoming these limitations and belief systems. So, and after this time period of like really diving into my spirituality and getting really in touch with my divine energies, like I'm coming to this remembrance of who I am, and like I'm unlocking gifts in myself and ways of thinking, perceiving, speaking, expressing, but it's still so subtle. I'm not even so sure of myself. I'm still so insecure at this point. Like I'm having so much issues with my relationship that I'm like, I feel broken and I feel so detached from myself. And then the relationship just keeps breaking down. And I go to Africa, summit Kilimanjaro, go to Morocco, and kind of just have more travels, more expansion, and more self just inquiry. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I am not comfortable in my dynamics right now. I'm not comfortable in myself. And I was projecting it out into my relationship, and it was hurting everything around me. Like, I was I was not communicating. I was not really sure what was happening inside of me. And I didn't really have that space until I was by myself and out of my 11-year trauma relationship and deeply rooted attachment relationship. And it was just so hard to let go. I left Africa by myself and had to go home, hire a life coach. I did fasting. I went and did a 10-day Vipassana, which changed my life, by the way. Like all three of those things combined at the time, like my soul knew I needed that time alone and that deep silence in myself to really anchor in this awakening and anchor in this further self-reflection. And that Vipassana gave me another way to inquire, and another way to sit with the energies, and another way to get control of my mind that was getting so fragmented by society, fragmented by addictions. And I mean, the philosophies are there, and you can dig into that in your own time. But this is a part of my story, the yogic philosophies of Vipassana. It's a Buddhist meditation. And so I decided to do one last hurrah to try and, continue the travels with my partner. And we go to Alaska. We take our RV that was in storage in Oregon while we were in Africa, and we take it up into Alaska. And there were so many omens with the RV catching on fire. There's so many issues going up. I'm like working my ass off to get that RV up there, and it was trucking along to get there. And I just end up in Alaska, back in a work cycle of like not treating my body right, just trying to hustle for money again, and again trying to make the relationship work, and attaching myself to substances and things, and really disassociating, and like trying to deal with all the energy still. And I felt like all this like enlightenment that I had by myself just withered away. And I went to Alaska and had an amazing time and really good experience with the nature out there. And my relationship really just separated at that point, and like we were not together that summer, but living in the same RV, and like I don't know, a lot of issues happened. And by the end of the summer, like we were separating. I had to go through divorce, and it was really tough to let go of this relationship for me for so long, when the seed was planted for me in India. Like, I was revealed all the misalignments while I was in India, but I ignored it. And my heart was like, no, I can't. There's no way that's real. And like, there was so much there I was still wrestling with internally and in denial within my life. So many aspects of myself, insecurities, like conditioning, so many things. So I go on and I'm further deepening this whole process. Like, that's like, I'm telling you, like, this is a process of years, but there's travels, there's experiences. I'm getting so many beautiful reflections from so many people and dynamics, nature, everything. There's so many things there. So many things I could dive into, so many experiences, right? It's so deep. And so for the first time in my life, after I go to Alaska, I go to Bellingham, Washington to live by myself. The apple farm gives me an opportunity to get housed and work for a couple months. And I go into this deep dive again of like, oh, now I'm by myself and I have no tether, I have no anchor, and I'm having like a spiritual death. I'm literally going through like a death inside, and I feel so like unworthy of my life, and I was really down in the depths of my soul, like having this wrestle. And I was like working at the apple farm, trying to do the thing. But then I found this dance community somehow. I was doing yoga at the gym, and I was just kind of ran into this dance teacher, and he invites me to do this burlesque dancing, and I was like, ooh, oh hell no, bro. Like, my ego was like, no way. And then I go to the class and I have a really good time, and it's like this embodied masculine, like sexy dancing, like Magic Mike, and the community there is beautiful, like expressive. Everyone's like really fluid in their energies, and I'm just like, what is this? What is this? And like, it's so beautiful. It was such an amazing energy to experience, and like, holy crap, did it open me up to this new part of myself, or make me remember this part of myself that maybe I lost. And it was just so expressive, it was so beautiful, and it was so free. And like, I got to perform in dance performances, and I was like, old Jay would have never, bro. I would have never had the confidence, or like I would have been too like, oh, I'm a man, I'm not supposed to be like that, and I'm not supposed to dance like that or move like that. You know, like I had those mentalities before, but like this opened me up. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I feel powerful. I feel amazing in this, and I'm free in my body, and I'm moving. And eventually I was like having a struggle with like this money stuff and like the work cycle. I was like, fuck the work cycle. I like told the apple farm, I'm leaving. I'm moving into my car, and I'm gonna focus on dancing. I'm gonna focus on singing, going to the gym. And then I also found a football tryout, which is like a big thing for me. I love football and I play football. And like, that was a big thing about me staying in Washington, was football. Is there a place to play? And this like amazing tryout came out of nowhere, and I helped start up a team called the Whatcom Vikings up in Bellingham, Washington. So I'm playing football, I'm doing cabaret dancing in like the can. I'm like wearing like dresses, like I'm doing like feminine dancing and just unlocking this part of myself. I'm like, I feel beautiful, and I love expressing this part of myself, and I'm just having this amazing awakening of expression and creativity. Finally, when I'm by myself, I'm like finding these talents, these hidden things about myself, and I'm like, what is happening? My soul felt a calling, and I listened. I even wrote down what I wanted from my life, and I left a note on top of Kilimanjaro. And everything's coming to fruition. And then I also had like these deep kind of lustful desires that started showing up in my reality, that I was like, oh, I don't really want that like aspect of this. I want something more divine, more deep. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I'm starting to filter out my manifestations. And so now I have this beautiful self-expression wrestling with my football masculine and feminine energies. Like in Bellingham, I'm dancing. There's like circus community involved, artsy people, and I'm just like, just getting, it's like a school of energies to like really study myself and really come back into my energies here. It's so cool. I'm like, wow, like everyone's so expressive and beautiful and amazing. But then I get overwhelmed, right? I get all this attention coming on me, and I'm just like, at least I feel like I have a lot of attention on me. And I'm like, I need to go. I need to go. And it's nothing against the community or the people there. I was just like, this is overwhelming as shit. I've never been in this. This is my first year by myself. I'm going back to Alaska to do some more soul searching. And I leave the cabaret, leave the football scene behind in Whatcom County, and I go to Homer, Alaska. And I land in Homer, and I have this little gig cleaning a cabin. And I'm like, I'm looking for something to like dive into art stuff more and just wandering a lot. I'd take a backpack and I would just wander. And even in Bellingham, I moved into a backpack and just started wandering the streets and like hanging out with homeless people and like wandering, bro. Like at this point, I'm like living off of savings and like the pennies I have left, bro. I get to Alaska, I have nothing, bro. I'm just like, God's gonna provide, and I'm gonna just try to have fun and harness my energy, bro. For the first time in my life, I'm harnessing my damn energy, baby. And like harnessing my self-worth. I'm, this whole time I'm journaling, reflecting, meditating, doing yoga, opening up my hips. Cause in the art scene in Bellingham, it's very circusy, and I started doing contortion classes too. Like the cabaret atelier, man. It just changed my freaking life. And it's still like that whole time period is just still changing my life because I reflect on it and I feel the beautiful energies I was around, and I was like, it's so inspirational. But the contortion stuff, right? I'm like opening my body and like I'm having deep releases like in my hips, my shoulders, and there's emotions involved. I mean, like as I'm doing this contortion class, like I'm going home and bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, what is this? And it's just all tied back to the yogic philosophies, right? Like when I'm in tune with this yogic philosophy and these energies of growing and development and expanding in my life, I'm magnetizing things that are gonna further expand me into my expression. And that's what this has been about, right? This is a just insane unfolding of my life, man. Like what is going on? Like I'm having so much revelation, and it's just attracting to me now. I'm not even trying, and it's like by society standards, like I'm totally like going against the norm. I'm not hustling. I'm not working for money. I'm not trying to pay the bills 9 to 5 and be in the system. I'm trying to self-reflect. I'm trying to deepen my understanding of self. And it's such a struggle. It's such a struggle to have these conditioned ideologies, programmings, and expectations of society and do the opposite. And it's scary. And it was tough, and it was deep, and there was so much there. Even right now, I have like this wrenching feeling in my gut of like, am I gonna be received well explaining this? Am I gonna be received speaking on this? And I know I am. I know what I'm seeing. I know what I'm feeling in our reality here. It's fucking distortion. It's programming. It's coercion. It's evil. And I'm continuing on just speaking, even when I feel this density. Like I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna keep speaking and reflecting on this evolution and experience that I'm going through, because I know it's valuable for me, and I know it's valuable for other people, and I know I'm becoming, and I'm starting to be who I've always been, but in a way that's not restricted by my outside world, influenced by my outside world. I get to speak, be, express, and do what I want and be how I want to be, no matter who's watching, no matter who's listening to me, no matter what judgments I'm getting. I can have this inner sovereignty, this inner freedom within myself, and it just flows out of me like poetry. I don't even have to try to show up on here anymore, and it's so beautiful, and it's really relieving. And because I was stuck, y'all. I was in a deep illusion with myself, feeling like I'm unworthy, and like I didn't think I could harness this clarity and this openness, this love. Like, I didn't think it was real. I didn't think this world was capable of holding something like this. And the entire time it was me needing to be able to hold it, nothing else. I was meant to hold this. I was meant to embody this beauty and this worth, and it has nothing to do with my output. It has nothing to do with my performance here, and just everything to do with this inner worth, this inner love, and this divine connection I have with Spirit. And it's been so beautiful to finally release and filter through all the pains, the stressors, the worries that have held me back before. And I guess the whole point of getting on here and recording this is to just motivate somebody, to influence somebody to do something different. Believe in yourself. Take a road that seems so unorthodox, but it feeds your soul. And it's okay to let go of what you thought this life was before. It's okay to let go of who you thought you were and what you thought this world was. And it's okay to feel free in yourself, even if your outside environment isn't free. Even if the people in your life aren't free within themselves, you can anchor that in, and you can bring this sense of groundedness and this sense of clarity and empowerment and delivery to other people's souls. Like, that is so important right now. We need people to do this. We need people to have this expansive understanding of energy, of what it is to be a human being. And it will always come back to unconditional love, understanding, and contemplation, prayer, devotion. And after all that is said and done, I go to Hawaii after going to Homer and performing in my first theater show, diving into community, and I find myself wandering in Hawaii, and God puts me in front of the Christian ideologies and in front of Jesus, and I just like, what the fuck? Every single thing, the overcoming of my illusion, everything I was sitting with, everything that I was contemplating through the yogic philosophies, through my energy, point to the revelations of the Holy Spirit. And I always say discernment is your number one tool when you're pursuing this ideology of Christianity, because the book can lead you astray. Because I don't think everything in that book is resonant with what the true teachings of Jesus Christ was. But his embodiment of love, his embodiment of truth, his embodiment of unconditional love and understanding for the world, and the discernment of everything in spirit is the way. Love is the way. Everything, the way. And like, little did I know that like all the yogic philosophies, the Vedic philosophies, is all tied into the Bible and like the teachings. It goes hand in hand. You can't separate the two. You really can't. And that's the other understanding that needs to come when it comes to this Christianity, is like, you must respect all religions. You must respect all forms of belief and connect it to the same Holy Spirit. No matter what the deity, no matter what the Savior was, the unconditional love is the same. If it's not an unconditional love, it's an illusion. We can point that out and know, but we don't need to demonize other people for finding their own way to it, because they will find their way on their own. And it is your embodiment of truth and love that is going to spread the truth and love. It's simple as that. We don't need to be forcing anything here. The love wins, the light wins all the time. It is destined, it's in the stars, bro. So like after all of that, I have my coming to Jesus, and it's beautiful, bro. And it's so freeing and powerful. And now I'm here in Arizona playing football in this unknown territory of my life where I'm like not afraid of the system anymore. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I'm not afraid to live amongst this dense matrix here. And I'm willing. I'm willing to be in it all. And I'm not afraid to speak my truth. I'm not afraid to express myself. And before, like in a place where I know like there's judgments happening, bro, I can feel your energy. I can feel everybody's energy when it comes to that. But I know it's not gonna affect me anymore. And I know where my truth lies. It's in spirit, it's in my body. It's in my experiences. I've seen people from all around the world deeply, open-heartedly. I have let reflections trigger me. I have let everything come into my soul, and it's given me an understanding of what it is to be a human. It's helped me dissolve identities and program beliefs, and there's freedom here, guys. There's so much love here, guys. And we have a lot of opportunity coming with this expanded awareness, coming through me and coming through so many other individuals. And it's gonna be beautiful. I have a really good feeling about it. So anyways, this is a part of my story. This is a part of my life. And there's so much more to it. That is just a short synopsis of who I am and what I'm here to give. I'm just here to give reflection on myself and grow within myself and in my love and embodiment, and just have fun, radical enjoyment, radical energetic sovereignty in my self-expression and being who I am and speaking my truth as it comes to me. And every day I get on and something comes because somebody needs to hear it. I need to hear it. Every time I'm speaking this whole story to myself to change the script, to flip the narrative in my life of like thinking I'm limited. There's so much potential. I have gone through the ringer and seen beautiful, beautiful things in this world. It gives me so much hope, so much faith. And there's so many catalysts happening right now for our world, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. There's so much beauty. It's so nerve-wracking to get on here and do this and just do it anyway. Like I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna put this out there in hopes that it finds the people that it needs to find. And the woo-woo is the way too. All those modalities, bro. Breathwork, frequency, vibration. You gotta dive into it. There's no way we need to demonize energetic sovereignty when Jesus Christ was speaking that. He is an energy guy. He knows energy. The divine is the energy. You know what I mean? The Holy Spirit. I can, bro. It's beautiful. I hope this helps somebody. And I hope it just inspired somebody. Much love from my heart to yours, from my soul to yours, from my spirit to yours. May you find that spirit, that mind, that body connection, and the unraveling of your life. May you find the truth in your story, in your illusions, in your perceptions, in your assumptions about people. I hope you understand that we are all one here, and that we are all in this together. There's nothing separate. And once you feel that unity, you become limitless. You are a magnet for abundance, for love, and for peace in your life. You do not have to try hard to be here anymore. When you find this conviction, you find this light. We are all worthy of this change. We are all worthy of this awakening of spirit. Bless y'all, man.